talk about the next topic that we have here, and the question is, what are the key factors to consider in creating an effective sales strategy? So part of the reason that we're asking this question is because a lot of, to Alice's point earlier, a lot of the clients that we work with and a lot of questions that have come in over the past year are really about, so what does a sales strategy really look like? How does it affect? What do I do? What are the components of it? So, Alice, talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, again, once you have your strategic plan set up, and I just can't hammer on that enough, I'm sorry, it's so hard for me to go in and help a company increase sales that doesn't have a strategic plan. I mean, I can make some small changes that will absolutely make an impact, but in the big picture, nothing really can be done until that strategic plan is set.
So, Alice, why?
Why? Well, I think that I know that sales affects every other piece of the business. And so if I go ahead and increase your sales without really understanding what's going on in manufacturing or in delivery or the other pieces of your business, I could actually implode your company. And I have several examples of how that's happened in the past, where the salespeople have outsold what the company could produce, and you have a lot of angry customers, and it takes years to overcome that kind of a failure. You just can't say let's increase sales and not look at everything else. So if the company wants to have a certain amount of growth, they have to make sure each department can move along with the growth so that whatever sales is doing is not going to be too little and it's not going to be too much. You know, we've got to have capacity. Well, how do we know if there's capacity if we don't have a plan? Also, if new products are coming into play and we're going to have to train our salespeople to sell those new products, we have to pay attention to the ramp cycles for training people and getting a new product to market. And so sometimes we have these really ambitious sales goals with a brand new product that, you know, are just going to wipe the salespeople out. So it's got to be balance in the organization. There's got to be organized growth. Yes, some of it can be organic, absolutely, and so many companies grow that way, but you do get to a point where the organic growth isn't going to get you where you want to be, and it's going to drive everyone nuts. So set a solid plan in place. It doesn't have to be written in stone, right? That's why the software allows you to go in and change anything anytime you want, but you've got to start with a plan and then fit the proper pieces in, the innovation pieces, the sales pieces, the manufacturing pieces, and all, you know, the other accounting pieces, all the things that make a company work, the people pieces, all of that, because sometimes we won't have enough staff to do what we want to do. So the key factors really, once you have your sales goals that fell out of your strategic plan, is to consider your target market. And I think that a lot of companies just shoot too broad. Who is your target market? Describe them to the point that you can name them instantly. You can recognize them instantly. You know, my target market is a company that blah, 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 has all these factors. So I can find those companies really easily, and my salespeople don't waste time selling to companies that don't fit, because that makes the sale harder, it makes the sales cycle longer, and it makes for less happy customers once they buy.
And Alice, on that point, and again, I know some of this stuff is just, you know, common sense, right? We say, of course, yes, of course, we know our target customers, but I find, and you probably do too, is that we are scared to focus on one or two, or maybe it's 10, but that's a lot of target customers. So what is your coaching around that, or maybe some success stories that you've seen?
Yeah, focus is absolutely tough because you think, oh my gosh, you know, if I just focus my business on women, or if I just focus on companies over 100 million, or if I just focus on green companies, then I'm missing this whole other part of the market. Oh no. You know, again, with each of your plans, you have to really consider all of these factors. There's not just, I can't just tell you, you know, in this simple phone call how to choose, but truly, if you look at your current customer base, and if you listed all of your current customers and the qualities that they have and the demographics that they have, and then you start to pick, like if you rated those, rank them, you know, at A, B, or C. These are the A customers. They fit perfectly. They're so easy to work with. They buy lots. All the things we love about them. Wouldn't you want to go get more of those? So once you know what those look like, now you can go find more of them. It doesn't mean that you won't necessarily take business from other types of customers, but you won't spend your resources out focused on marketing to them, because if you're marketing to the wrong audience, it's going to bring you more of the business you don't want. So when you target, you figure out who you want to target to, and you spend your energy and resources on that market, and the periphery will still come in to some degree, and you can decide whether you want to take in that kind of business or not.
Some other stuff related to the sales strategy pieces are lead gen and qualification. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, people can make their sales person's job really, really hard if they want to. And it amazes me how many companies do that. When I walk in the door, I'm like, wow, you are making your salespeople work really hard. You know, if you are generating leads properly, if you're generating leads to get the type of audience you want, your salespeople can spend their valuable time on qualifying, educating, and then closing the business. But so many companies expect their salespeople to generate their own leads. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, because certainly salespeople should help in that process, but your sales process is lengthened greatly when your salespeople have to start from ground zero and generate their own leads. So you can shorten your sales cycle by generating good leads.
And your suggestion on that, and I think this is probably one of those contested things in business, but the primary accountability for lead generation falls on the marketing teams.
Why, yes, it does, Erica. Yeah, this is the age-old controversy between sales and marketing. Salespeople have to be involved in generating leads. Marketing has to be involved in generating leads. In fact, every single person who works at a company should be involved in generating leads. If you know why your company exists, and then what they do and how they do it, and you can speak that clearly, and every person who works at a company should be able to do that, in that case, then, everybody can be a lead generator for you, because they're out in the community, they're out in the business world, they're out with their family and friends, and people who could possibly buy from you. And so that helps you with lead generation. And then, of course, your marketing team is very skilled at lead generation, using things like PR, social media, advertising, marketing, traditional and new, all of that blended together can generate great leads for the salespeople. Also, if you do it right, and if you're targeting your audience, you will end up with much more highly qualified leads coming in, and that will shorten your sales cycle. I mean, people are always calling me, asking me about how to get their salespeople to close deals. Well, closing the deal starts with a qualified lead. I mean, I can't close the deal at the end. It's already too late if it's not closing. I need to start with a qualified lead. Qualified leads shorten the sales cycle, and companies just don't do enough on that end, Erica, to get those leads qualified. So there's lots of different ways to go about it, but it is an absolute key to success in a sales strategy.
Alice, we have a question here that's specifically related to target markets, and we're going to bring it forward right now as we're scrolling through. We've got a lot of questions. We will do our best to get to everyone. Give us just a minute. There we go. So the question from one of our participants is, we've recently struggled with a target focus because we're a community bank and have to offer services from cradle to grave. Any thoughts?
I work with a lot of financial institutions. It's one of the markets I really enjoy a lot. So this is what I can say. Yes, absolutely, you have to offer, right? Because that's what a community bank does. But you still, again, can pick what I call a sweet spot and spend more of your time, effort, and energy focused on that. And again, the other business will still come. You're not going to turn it away, but you may have a different way to handle it, and you may have a different group that handles these customers who are in your sweet spot. Because let's face it, if you don't get some ideal business in the door, you won't be there to handle all the other customers who need you too. So for the growth and health of your business, you have to focus on the business that's the most profitable, the business that's easier to do, the business that's best for your company, because that's going to be the core, and that's what's going to be profitable.